Hey, it's LSF here today. Welcome back to the channel. And today we're diving into the Lexus Europe sales performance for the first half of 2025. We're going to first look at the press release from Toyota Motor Europe, and after that, what we're going to do is we will look at Lexus performance in European West. Next video, we will be looking at European East, and what we're going to do is also look at the competition. We know that Mercedes, Audi, BMW, and probably some other brands, and we're going to compare it with Lexus and see how are they performing outside of their hometown Japan and with their stronghold of America. Now let's look at the press release that came with Toyota Europe. Alright, so Toyota Motor Europe outperforms the market, posting a record first half of 635,328 vehicles. So we look at Lexus here. So Lexus posts 44,213 vehicles. So that is significantly up from last year. So it's up 7% year over year, and it takes about 2.5% of the premium market in Europe. So they didn't break down the sales of Toyota and Lexus on the battery electric vehicle. They're saying it's up 42% year over year, while the plug-in hybrid has grown 186%, and the full hybrids are about 2% in the same period. Lexus posts 44,213, and that's increased 7%, and they're saying that the electrified models have increased 13% year over year. And Lexus has maintained a market share of 2.5%, and Lexus has 100% electrified sales mix in West Europe and 95% across the entire region. So key performers is the compact LBX hybrid and the NX, which is available in the plug-in hybrid and the hybrid variant. So we continue to look at the highlights for Lexus. So you can see that they sold 14,757 LBXs. NX is a little bit under that, 1,306.07. And the UX 4,703 units. Electrified sales 41,823, and that's up 13%. And they're saying that their top electrified is the LBX because it's only available in hybrid. The NX hybrid and the plug-in hybrid is 13,469, so we can minus that with this. We'll know how many gas-only turbo NXs were sold. We have the hybrid and the BEV, which is the same, and the RX 3,679. So the mixture, West Europe is 100%, and East Europe is 52% minus TTL. I don't know what that means, and that's 95%. So I think there's certain areas, if you take that out, then it's 95%. If not, the full Eastern Europe is 52%. All right, so we continue to go down, and it actually gives you a breakdown of the 44,213. So you can see the total breakdown, and I'm going to switch over to my spreadsheet because I have historical numbers as well. All right, so here we have the European numbers. So we start off with the IS, 22 units sold in 2025. Wow. But they only sold 41 last year, so it's down 24% in the first two quarters. So the first half, they're down 24% for the IS. The GX, it's their best-selling quarter, and then you look at it, 406, and that's almost like half a year. They're only 200 short of beating the record last year. So for the GX, they're up 133.3%. That's quite significant already. RC, the last year for the RC, they didn't sell any second quarter, so they only sold one. So I think they're not going to sell anymore. It seems like it has already ended in Europe. The LX, 687 last quarter, and when you look at it, 1,233, and they're up 12% compared to last year, which means it's going to be a good year for the LX. The RZ, it's up 24%. They sold 2,521 in the first half, so when you double that, that's about 5,000. And I think with the new RZ coming, maybe we can see a little bit more gains here. But definitely we're seeing some good numbers on the RZ. The LS, very low selling volume car, 43, so it's down 6.5%. And we know that UK no longer sells the LS as well, so definitely numbers are going to drop here. LC down 98.6%. They only sold 4. But right here, I have some questions here because first quarter they said they sold 3, and then second quarter they said they sold 2. So that's supposed to be 5. but for some reason, the report shows only 4. So definitely very weird. But overall, let's say it's 4, and that's minus 98%. We have the ES, that is down 25%, and that's 2,144. So they'll probably get about 4,000 this year. Sedans are also not selling well for Lexus in Europe. So now we go to the RX. RX is down 39.7%. So even the SUV, the larger SUV in Europe, isn't doing well. Does very well in America, but not very well in Europe. And then we have the NX, which is up 2%. So very good selling, 13,607. And then we have the UX, which is down 12%, 4,703. And then for the LBX, it's up about 70%. Because again, I think they started selling late Q1. So that's why they only had probably 1 month or half a month for Q1. And now they're showing, okay, they sold 6,000 almost more. So definitely these numbers are going to be very good for the LBX. And the luxury mover LM 270. So we can't compare. So 543. When you look at that, probably they will not beat last year. We're probably looking very close to last year's numbers. And then when we look at the total, they sold 44,000, and that's about increase of 8% for the first half of 2025. Not bad. So Lexus has sold 44,213 units in Europe. And they didn't really split in between what they sold in Western or Eastern Europe. But when I'm looking at the numbers, when I total my numbers, so I can tell you I do not have all the numbers for Europe, but I have about 95, almost 96% of the sales numbers. So I'm totaling right now 42,284. Okay, so that's I'm still about 4.4% short, because there are some countries that you have to pay to get the numbers, and it's very hard to get some of these numbers. But I think overall, with like 95% of the information, I think this will give us very good information about how Lexus is doing in Europe. All right, so we're going to start with United Kingdom here. United Kingdom last year was their best year, 16,652. So if you look at it since 2019, last year was a very good year. And then now when you look at it, 8,787. That's actually not bad, because when you look at here, it's about 8,036 units. So they're up right now for compared to the year. We're talking about 9.3% increase. So UK, they're almost 10% higher than last year. But then when you look compared to the competition here, BMW is down 6%, Audi's down 18%, Mercedes down 7.3%, Volvo is up 11%, Land Rover's up, Tesla's down, we have Porsche who's up, and Jaguar, those numbers are very low. And Genesis is actually very strong, but their numbers are not high. So 789 units for Genesis, which is not bad because they haven't been there for that long. So overall, when you look at it, Lexus is actually doing quite well in UK. So when you look at it, they're up about 10%. Last year, they were up 4.3%. And you can see that other brands have been doing quite well last year. But this year, the market has gone down for at least the big three we know here. So then we move down to Spain. So Spain, it's 4,867 units, and it's up 15% year to date. Compared to last year, 4,232. So definitely very good numbers for Spain, because I think they probably could break the record again this year. They're up about 15%, which is quite in par with Mercedes. Mercedes is up 15.3. We have BMW up 3%, Audi's up 5%, Volvo is down 22%, and then you can see Porsche's down 16%, Jaguar is very down, Alfa Romeo 9% down, Land Rover is 5.1%. So overall, when you look at the positioning, Lexus is just under Tesla and Volvo in sales. That's not their core market, but I think they've been doing quite well in Spain as well. So when you look at France, January was a very good month for them, and after that, they did not break any records. So they're up about 0.5%. They're really at par at this point. The whole market is actually down quite significant, And Lexus being at par is not a bad thing. So you can see that they sold 3,229 last year and 3,244 this year, so up 0.5. Other competition, they're down in significant numbers. One thing to note, they sold 1822 LBXs out of the 3,244. So more than half are LBXs sold in France. We go to Italy. Italy, 3,452, and that's up 20%. Again, another good market for Lexus at this point. So 2870 was last year, and when you look at it, BMW's up 6%, Audi's down 2.9, Mercedes is up 11.4, and all the rest is down quite significant. So Germany has actually been quite good. 4 months of record-breaking months when you look at least since 2019, 2,504 units compared to 2,209 last year, so they're up 13.4%. And then when you look at the competition here, up 6%, down 6%, up 4%. We see Mercedes is just flat, Polestar's flat, Jaguar's down, Cadillac's down. And then you can see Genesis, I only got numbers up to May, so that they're up 44%, which is quite good for Genesis as well. But overall, when you look at it, Lexus is also doing very well in Germany. So then we also have breakdowns for Germany. So their best-selling model is the NX, then the LBX, then the RX, then the UX. Then you can see RZ is actually catching a little bit higher. So overall, you can see the markets adopt smaller cars more. The RX isn't selling as much as the NX and the LBX and even the UX. Sweden, the hometown of Volvo. Last month, June, it's been a good month for them. It's considered the best-selling June, at least for the past 7 years here. So 1,188 units, and they are down 2.7%. And then when you look at the competition, Volvo's up 8.8%. They sell quite well in Sweden. I mean, they should be selling quite well. 25,825. Tesla's down 60%, Mercedes is up 7%, Audi's up 20%, BMW's up 20%, and Porsche's down 10.5%. When we look at the sales of the models, you can see here the NX is their best selling in Sweden, then comes to the LBX, and then you can see the RX doesn't sell well here. Sedans, ES seems to be selling better than the RX. Follow me on Instagram at LSFT Videos. You can see updates on my experience with the NX 450h Plus, which may not be shown on any future videos. You can reach out to me via direct messaging if you have any questions on your Lexus. If you like this video, you can provide me feedback in the comments below, like this video, share it with your friends. This definitely will help with the YouTube algorithms. Press the subscribe button and bell icon and get notified when new videos show up. And lastly, if you want to support me further, you can provide me a super thanks, or visit my Amazon storefront before you purchase anything from Amazon, or you can purchase products from the list on the items that I've been using with my vehicle or at home at no extra cost to you. And now, let's continue with the video. Next, we go to Belgium. Belgium, I purposely put 2016, they did sell 1723, so that seems to be their best-selling year. So even though 1509 last year, it was not their best-selling, 2016 was their best-selling. But then when you look at it, 849 this year, they're up 14.6% compared to last year's 741. So again, when you look at the market, they're all down, where Lexus is up 15%. So not bad for Belgium. These numbers aren't significant, but I think they will continue to grow. The brand will get more visibility in those markets and hopefully be able to sell more. Moving on to Denmark. 3 months of the 6 are good selling months. Very low volume, 211. But when you look at it, 211 for the half year, and last year's 275 was the total sold. I think they're going to break the record in Denmark, right? Up 46.5%. Well, when you look at it, because of the low volume, it's quite easy to sell high percentages. Audi is up 4%, BMW is up 43%, Land Rover is up 14%, Mercedes is up 7%, Porsche 75 almost, Tesla's gone down the drain, and Volvo's gone down as well. You can see that the NX is the best-selling model. The RZ, I would say they're very close to last year's numbers, but the NX has already broken last year's numbers already. LBX is selling well as well, 67 compared to 48 total last year, so definitely we can see the NX and the LBX pair is helping Denmark here. All right, Norway, 951. So definitely when you look at these numbers, we are seeing that it's another record-breaking year for Norway because they're very close. They're only like 600 shy to get record-breaking year. So when you look at it, they're up 28%. So 743 was last year, year to date, and now they're at 951. But let's look at the competition. Wow. The big three, they're up like almost double. 91% for Mercedes, 53% for Audi, 88% for BMW. Ireland now. So Ireland, 819. Again, I think it's a very good year for Ireland as well. They're up 37%. So definitely, I think for July, last year they sold 200. I don't know if we're going to see that number, but if they do, they've already reached last year's numbers already because January and February, they did very, very well. So overall, they're up 37. And when you look at the competition, Volvo, BMW, and Audi, they're in like 3 to 9%. Mercedes is down 10%, and Tesla's down 4%. So overall, when you look at it again, NX, LBX are the ones that are helping push those numbers. You can see that the NX, they sold 300 for the first half. Last year, they only sold 333. So they're very close to selling that already. Same with the LBX. So these two are doing extremely well in Ireland. We go to Finland. Finland, 231. So double that, 260. So they're definitely close, 8.5%. And then when you look at the competition here, Audi's up 20, BMW's down 14, Mercedes is down 23. Polestar is doing quite well. It's high, 244. And then we can see the Teslas and the Volvos have gone down. Porsche's 68%. So overall, mid-pack, I think Lexus is just doing okay in Finland. Last year, you can see a lot of negative numbers for the brands, and Lexus was 8.5% increase. So their numbers seems to be increasing very close to what they did last year. Year over year, they're increasing 8.5%. So Switzerland seems to be one of the countries that they're not doing well at all. So 366 compared to last year's 993. This number seems to have gone back to 2022 numbers. So I don't know if this is the year of the catch-up and that's why they sold more, but now they're at minus 23.8%. Looking at the competition year, BMW and Mercedes are down 4 to 6%. Audi's up 3.6%. And the rest are down quite significant. So do not know what's happening in Switzerland, but then when you look at it, NX, LBX are the top sellers as well. Iceland doesn't sell a lot, 73. So when you look at it, their best-selling year was 2023 with 141. 73, that's half of that. So they're very close to the best-selling year. When you look at last year, they've only sold 26 units in the first half. So they didn't do well last year. It's only the latter half where they did better. But then this year, it seems to be a little bit better for them. So 73, they've already broke last year's numbers. And I think it could be close to 141 this year. So they're up 180%. Last year, they were down 52%. So you can see that's quite significant. Unfortunately, I do not have the percentages of increase for the competition, but you can get a sense. Tesla has selling quite well, 657. You can see that Mercedes, 305. They sell 3 times more of Lexus. You can see Audi and BMW, they're very close, 73 versus 100 and 118. Volvo does better. And then we have Land Rover, 259, which is quite good. So when you look at the models, you can see that the RZ and the RX plug-in hybrid is the ones that actually sold most. And then follows by the NX 450h Plus, then the LBX. So Iceland doesn't really need a small car. They like the bigger cars and they go more electrified. All right, Netherlands. So 635. So when you look at that, double that, that's 1200. So definitely doing quite well. up 47.3%. Last year they were up 100%. So they sold 532 and then they sold 1,068. So 2025 first half, they're up 47.3%. And then when you look at the competition here, up 9%, 7%, Jaguar's down 37%, Mercedes down 1%. So they're doing better than the big three here. And then when you look at it, LBX and NX is the crown models. All right. And then we have Portugal. Portugal 345. So they're very close to what they sold last year, 304 last year. So they're up 13.5%. Last year, they've gone up 47.3%. Overall, when you look at the competition, 9,000 units. So like 345 versus 9,000. They're not selling as much as these bigger brands. But they're from a potential growth, they're doing quite well. So Porsche is doing almost 40%. But then when you look at Mercedes, that's up 10%. BMW's up 6%, and Audi's down 4%. So overall, not bad, but definitely small numbers for Lexus. And the last country in West Europe is Austria, 181, another one that hasn't been doing quite well. So they're down 14, almost 15% this year, but they were up 89% the year before. So there is going to be some adjustments here. 212 last year, 181 this year. And then when you look at it, 181 versus the BMW 10,000, they sell like nothing. They're up 12%. Audi's up 17, almost 18%. Mercedes down 2%. Volvo is down 18%. And then you can see the rest here. So when we look at West Europe, they sold 28,703 based on the numbers I have. There may be some countries that's missing, but I compare it similar to last year. So when I compare it to last year, 25,689, so they're up 11.7% in West Europe. Not bad at all. Because when you look at the US sales for the first half, they're up 7%. And when you look at Canada, they're up 21%. So they're right in between. Overall, when you look at it, Lexus has been doing quite well. So there you have it. Lexus is doing quite well in Western Europe, with electrified vehicles making up the overwhelming majority of sales. In the next video, we will turn our attention to Eastern Europe, where Lexus is expanding in emerging premium markets. We'll also compare how Lexus stacks up against brands like the BMW, Audi, Mercedes, and Volvo, and even Genesis if available. So make sure that you like, subscribe, and turn on that notification bell so that you don't miss that breakdown. I hope that you found that this video was informative, and until next video, drive safely. Thank you for watching. If you liked this video, please comment, like, share this video, and if you want to see more videos like this, you can subscribe to my channel and press that bell icon to get notified when new videos are posted. And if you'd like to support this channel, you can provide me a super thanks. And until next time, cheers.